Welcome into another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting, Jim Goodman. And before we get into picking stakes races for the Saturday card, we should remind folks about the Derby Future Wager, right?
We should. It opens Thursday as we're taping this and closes Saturday around 6 o'clock. They're going to close it about the time that they run the Robert Lewis Stakes at Santa Anita. So they want to close it before the race so you won't get any big advantage. So you have to get it in before around 6 o'clock or post time of the Robert Lewis Stakes. So there are 24 spots available, and, of course, the field is going to still be the favorite. But looking at the morning line odds that Mike Battaglia said, it looks like Cairo Prince is 8-1, Shared Belief is 10-1, top billing Shug McGahee's horse that ran so well a couple weeks ago at Gulfstream is 15-1, and all other 3-year-olds, which is number 24, is 7-5. So you can get a good price on a horse that you like early, and maybe Midnight Hawk is 20-1, and he's running this weekend. So that's not a bad morning line on that horse.
No, that could be attractive, especially if he were to win this race. That would come down considerably by the next pool.
Oh, that's correct, and that way you get this horse at the old price rather than after the race is run. So you can bet that on your Keeneland Select account. You can come out to Keeneland and bet it. It's a nice wager. It's a lot of fun to have just talking around the water cooler about. I got Midnight Hawk at 20-1, and he's going to be the 5-1 favorite in the Derby or something like that.
Well, let's go to the Saturday card at Gulfstream. 2 Grade 3s there. Their 10th race is the Sewanee River for fillies and mares 4 and up at 1 1/8 on the Gulfstream turf course. And got Shug McGahee's Abaco in there. Who did you go with?
Well, everything that I went through the process pointed to Abaco. Second off layoff, good closing kick, back class. I'm going to try to beat her, though, with Paranda. I really like the 2-horse with Lescano. She's 5 for 10 at Gulfstream, 2 for 4 at the distance. And Jose is a very aggressive rider. And I'm thinking as I go through here, I don't see any other early speed. And I think Paranda has a good shot to dictate the pace. You don't usually think about that 1 1/8 on turf. But if she gets an easy lead, and she's going to get the lead from the inside unless Riposte with Rosario goes, and I don't think she's a first-time North America. I doubt if she's got a lot of early speed. So I'm going to take Paranda here, and I really like her. She might be 8-1, something like that. Ooh. Caroline Thomas may be favored, but she hasn't proven she can win off a layoff. So I'm going to watch one for her. And Shug's horse is obviously probably going to be the favorite, but I'm going to try to beat her with Paranda.
I did not like Caroline Thomas at all in the spot, so I ended up going to Riposte. I didn't see anybody that just knocked my socks off in here, and this horse kept top company, ran behind the Fugue in Europe in a Grade 1 last year, so that's about as good a company as you can keep. And Rosario takes the mount, which kind of clinched it for me. So Riposte for me for a little better price than Abaco, but I'd use Paranda, Abaco, and the 3 Malibu Yankee in Exacta's keying off the 1 Riposte. The next race is the Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprint Stakes, 4-year-olds and up at 7 furlongs. And you've got some horses with a good bit of back class in here, like Laugh Track that ran in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, Brujo de Olorejos that ran in the mile. You got Jackson Bend, Fort Loudon. I ended up taking a shot here with Katrin. Only 2 starts and coming out of a non-winners of 1 allowance race. But this is a bold move for Pletcher. And the Breeders' Cup horses are coming off layoffs, so you might catch them at the right time. I'm not sure Jackson Bend or Fort Loudon are quite what they used to be. So Katrin's working great, and it's a bold move by Pletcher. So I'm just going to take a stab that I might get a decent price on a Pletcher horse here if he's good enough. But I'm not ultra confident. Probably get more attractive depending on how high the price gets. What about you?
Oh, I think it's a really good betting race because you've got all these different horses coming in off a layoff, but with back class. And Katrin is lightly raced, so obviously his first 2 buyers are 84, 94. If he takes another step up, he's going to be tough to beat. I went with Laugh Track. He had a rough trip in the Cigar Mile after almost winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Just barely got beat by a Secret Circle, and he was kind of out of it. Cigar Mile, he bobbled at the start, and just kind of a wasted effort for him. And I really liked his race in the Breeders' Cup, and almost got up at 16-1. So I'm going to take him on top of Katrin and Sing Another Song. Really getting better. He's won 2 in a row. He's got to take another step forward. But if he goes forward from a 91, 96, 99 buyer last 3 times out, he's going to be tough to handle as well. So Laugh Track on top of Sing Another Song and Katrin.
Katrin, by the way, I would use key him in exacta boxes with Laugh Track, Jackson Bend, and Sing Another Song. Santa Anita has 3 Grade 2s. The first one is the San Antonio Stakes, the 5th race on their card. Mile and an eighth at for 4-year-olds and up at a mile and an eighth. You got Game On Dude in here. Any shot you can beat him?
Well, I really want to beat him because I don't much care to bet on him at 2 to 5. But Blue Skies and Rainbows is one of my favorite horses in the West Coast, and I've won a little bit of money on him the last 2 times out, especially that last time when you and I gave out the exacta with Majestic Harbor at 16 to 1.
Who's also in here.
Blue Skies and Rainbows, right. So, I think those 2 horses are probably the best 2 horses in the race if Game On Dude scratches. So I'm going to take Game On Dude on top of those 2 and hope to get a little bit of a price. But I don't see how you can bet against him, even off a layoff. I mean, he's 7 for 9 at Santa Anita. Except for the Breeders' Cup Classic, he's the best older horse in the country. You can't run the Breeders' Cup Classic very well, but I'm going to take Game On Dude.
Yeah, I can't beat him either. And what I'm going to try to do is just look for a little bit of a price behind him. So I'm going to try Blingo for John Sheriff's, who I think still has some upside left. So Game On Dude over Blingo, just a straight exacta in there for me. 7th race is the Grade 2 San Marcos, 4-year-olds and up on the turf at a mile and a quarter. And big field here of 13 and some fairly accomplished horses. I ended up going to Sea Sage. It's a horse I've used before, and thought the last race was a wake-up, and maybe they had some high hopes for this horse when he came over from Europe, kind of sputtered last fall, late summer and early fall, and off the layoff really seemed to wake up and working great on top of that. So I'm going to try Sea Sage. Maybe stretching out might just hit this horse right between the eyes. I'm going to use him with Temerain, the 13, the 2 Vagabond Shoes, and the 7 Lacayan. There's a couple others that could have been talked into as well, but Sea Sage for me. What about you?
Well, when you handicap this race, you really can't toss anybody. I started to toss a horse that Mike Pipey trains, and I never tossed Mike Pipey on the West Coast. So I think you can go a lot of different ways in here. I went with that Vagabond Shoes. Really ran big in Breeders' Cup Turf. Only lost by 2 1/4 to Magician and the Fugue. You were talking about the company that the horse kept in the last race that we handicapped out at Gulfstream, and the Fugue beat Vagabond Shoes by 2 lengths. If the Fugue were in this race, he'd probably be 1 to 2. So I'm taking Vagabond Shoes on top. The other horses, a lot of people can run behind the horses coming out of the San Gabriel. Geronimo won that race, but he needs a strong pace. Has never run a mile and a quarter, so I think you can play against him. I'd also use Arctic North below. Slim Shady might get an easy lead. You can make a case for a lot of horses here. Going with Vagabond Shoes, but not very confidently.
And the 8th race is the Grade 2 Robert B. Lewis on the road to the Kentucky Derby. 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. You got Midnight Hawk in here coming off an impressive win in the Sham. Who'd you go with?
I really hate races where the only choices I got are Bob Baffert. So, and that happens so much out west. And, which one's better, Midnight Hawk or Chitu, Chitu, Chitu? On the outside, I'm going to take Midnight Hawk simply because he ran in the Sham, and he looks like he's Baffert's Derby horse out there. When we're handicapping these races, you hate to give somebody a 3 to 5 shot. The other horses, that Candy Boy took a big step up last time out in the Cash Coffee 30, got beat by 5 3/4, but Shared Belief beat him. So again, he takes the Shared Belief in here would be co-favorite with Midnight Hawk. So I think Candy Boy has a big shot. Looks like he's a late developing horse for John Sadler. So Midnight Hawk over Candy Boy maybe in a cold exacta.
I think there's a chance Diamond Bachelor could run a little bit from the 2-hole. A lot of buzz about this horse going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Didn't really get a real smooth trip and ran up the track that day. But I think he's got a shot. I'm going to pick Midnight Hawk. I think he's the most likely winner. I like that 11-point buyer improvement in the first 2-turn race. And he's had 3 works since then after withstanding a really hot pace. So it didn't look like that took too much out of him. They've worked him 3 times since then. So Midnight Hawk for me, and I'll use him over Candy Boy and Diamond Bachelor, and hope it's Diamond Bachelor in the 2-hole and get a little bit of a price there, and see if we get a real serious Derby contender coming out of here. Don't forget the Derby Future Wager this weekend, Thursday through Saturday. By the way, Venceremos, Harpoon, and Fashion Plate, winners of stakes last weekend that came out of the Keeneland sale. I had Candyman E and would have paid more if Strapping Groom had not scratched. But you had a $31 winner, guys. Reward. Well done.
I did, and I was playing in an online contest, and I had kind of given up on that online contest, and I hit that one, and I didn't put any real money on him because I was on my way home. But Guys Reward, I couldn't believe he went off at 14-1, and that was a nice price, and every once in a while, a blind hog finds an acorn.
Well, good call right there. So hopefully some folks played that one last weekend and got a nice mutual. Well, Jim, best of luck on your picks. Best of luck to all of our listeners. And by the way, we are going to do a podcast on a couple of big stakes down at Gulfstream for Sunday's card, right?
Yes, the Don Handicap at the Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap. They moved those from Saturday to Sunday to be covered on Fox Sports 1, their first Jockey Club initiative. We're going to have the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes on that network. So this is their first telecast. So get your Keeneland Select account open and bet on Keeneland Select, and you can watch it on Fox Sports 1. But we will do a podcast for that race, so we're going to do that on Friday, I guess.
Yes, so we'll have that up about 24 hours or so from now, and we'll get you some handicapping on those two stakes races from Saturday, for the Sunday card at Gulfstream. Best of luck on Saturday. This is the End the Money Podcast, KeenelandSelect.com.